This is an 11 Alive special presentation. Voices for Equality, celebrating Hispanic heritage.
Bienvenidos, amigos. Welcome. I'm Paola Suro, and I'm so excited to be celebrating our vibrant community that's growing right here in Georgia. Right now, there are more than 1 million Latinos living in the state. So in this edition of Voices for Equality, we will share some of their empowering stories, starting with a chef who takes pride in serving up some of his heritage with a little laugh everywhere he goes. With each open door, a new opportunity walks in for Michael Diaz. That opportunity came thanks to a key ingredient.
Mucho sacrificio, wow.
Sacrifice. A lot of sacrifice.
In 2015, Diaz, who had just torn his meniscus, brought a slice of Puerto Rico to Georgia, initially selling food from his living room.
Yo vendí los muebles, vendí todo.
I sold all my furniture, put up 2 tables, and sold food every Saturday and Sunday.
A dream cut short.
The health department told me it was illegal to sell food from my house, but they didn't tell me I couldn't sell food in the streets.
So he cooked up a plan B,
Vamos pa' encima.
taking that dream on the road,
How you doing, sir? All right.
catering to whoever would buy food from this trunk of Puerto Rican treasure.
Habichuela, pollo frito, pernil.
His injured knee didn't stop his drive, but accelerated it. He and his wife opened Mi Casita Boricua, or My Puerto Rican House, July 13th, 2019, taking their dream from the road into a brick-and-mortar restaurant.
It was awesome. The restaurant was packed and there was a long line outside. Then 9 months later was the COVID lockdown.
From 18 employees, they went down to 6, to then 3, including him and his wife. They started offering new deals that helped keep them in business. And he met Rafet Morales.
When they opened and I came here, I felt like I was in Puerto Rico. And as soon as the food touched my mouth, I said, this is it. This is the place I have to buy this restaurant.
Morales, who's also Puerto Rican, helped cook up Diaz's Plan C. Now My Puerto Rican House is Mi Rincón Boricua, or My Puerto Rican Corner. And this month, they've worked together to offer food both in the restaurant and on the road.
I believe in what's been built, the drive to own it and raise it back up, continue his dream and push it 10 steps forward.
Soy boricua.
Being a hardworking Puerto Rican man runs in my blood. I'm really proud to be representing my island here.
Opening doors to new beginnings. Oh, that made me hungry. Well, now to a story of 2 friends with one goal: to share the best of Atlanta's Latin art scene. 11 Alive's Karis Belger introduces us to the minds behind Oye Fest, where culture meets community.
I'm born and raised in Atlanta. We both grew up here in Atlanta.
And for Margarita Rios and Randall Ruiz, being at Underground Atlanta is like visiting an old friend.
My parents used to bring me to Underground Atlanta as a kid. As a teenager, you had the Latin Festival here. So it definitely has like a historic, nostalgic vibe to it.
Now it holds more than precious memories.
We're trying to show that the Latin music and the Latin art is not just one thing.
Especially in this city where it feels like there isn't enough events that are curated for Latinos. That's why it's super important to showcase the ones that are happening.
Today, Underground Atlanta is the site of Oye Fest, a celebration for Latin artists across the metro.
The theme of Oye Fest this year is De Atlanta, Pa Atlanta, kind of for us, by us, right? It's very important because no one knows us better than our own people, right?
And since the first Oye Fest in 2019, Margarita and Randall have tried to put a spotlight on local Latin artists. It's an homage to the festival they once knew and a way to amplify the voices in the community they love.
We're stronger together than we are apart. So we could have curated a festival where it was just us and what we wanted to do, right?
We have panel discussions, music of every genre. A lot of times people think the Latin sound is one sound.
And as they step into a new era for Oye Fest, they hope to bring the sights, smells, and sounds of the culture with them.
It's just really a culture festival to highlight our community and to connect our community and to allow them the space to connect and grow together.
Well, groups across Georgia are bringing in their resources in an effort to bridge the education gap in the Latino community. Our Erica Murphy spoke to Hispanic educators who highlight the challenges they face and the possible solutions.
Leaders tell me that having this education forum here in Gainesville is a strategic move because the area is home to the state's largest Latinx population, and that strategy begins right here in the classroom.
With over 1.2 million Latinos in the state of Georgia, we recognize the entrepreneurial spirit and the strong labor pool and force that the Hispanic community is for the state.
That's why people from different sectors are discussing ways to engage the workforce and educate them. David Coed is with the Interactive College of Technology, where students can earn 2-year degrees. It's one of the country's largest colleges for people who don't speak English as their first language.
Some of the schools are 90 to 95% Hispanic, and so they need to learn English as well as learn the curriculum so they can meet school, basically education standards.
It's a critical piece to maintaining a strong economy and a job-ready workforce, according to Veronica Maldonado Torres, who heads up the Georgia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
And to ensure that our Hispanic community is getting the resource and the opportunities to be able to go to post-secondary education, to be able to have linguistic services in their own language, if necessary, more ESOL program.
Maldonado Torres says the pandemic highlighted some of the educational gaps within the Hispanic community, and this forum is one step in bridging that gap. Organizers say the Latinx community makes up about 50% of Gainesville's population, but many are not getting any training or education after high school, and that needs to change.
And guys, who better to educate Latinos than those who know the language and our culture? Gwinnett County Public Schools took its recruiting efforts to Puerto Rico to help serve many of its students who speak Spanish as a first language. 11 Alive's Vivian Vidal shows us how adding culture in the classroom is getting results.
Dr. Michelle White is one of the teachers hired in Puerto Rico this summer to work in Gwinnett County.
I love my kids and I know that they love me.
With more than 20 years of teaching experience, she says moving from Puerto Rico to Gwinnett made sense after her future there became uncertain when the Puerto Rican government froze teachers' retirements in 2022. Cutting her retirement in half.
The quality of the teachers that they have in Puerto Rico, they are highly educated with masters and even doctorates.
Beaver Ridge Elementary School principal Martina Luna Lorenzo says about 70% of the students at her school are Hispanic. She traveled to Puerto Rico in search for a special education teacher, a position she says can be hard to fill.
She was able to just fit right in, assist our students with their interventions in their small group by communicating with them in both English and in Spanish.
What happened with number 6?
Dr. White says transitioning to her new job in Georgia hasn't been easy. But a month on the job, she says the positive relationships she's already developed with her students make the challenges worthwhile.
The opportunity that I have now to help other Latinos people is a blessing for me.
And for Gwinnett County, hiring educators from the island just adds up. Students get a highly educated teacher. Plus, they can relate to being Latino in America.
Well, leading with influence, we sit down with the first Hispanic official to hold statewide office. That's straight ahead. Well, every year, the Georgia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce honors influential leaders making a difference. I was actually thrilled to be selected as one of their 50 most influential Latinos this year, and a fellow Hall of Famer, maybe a familiar face to you. Our Vivian Vidal spoke with Georgia Insurance Commissioner John King about how he keeps his heritage close to his heart while on the job.
Y estoy esperando las grandes oportunidades de ayudar a nuestra comunidad.
Georgia's Insurance Commissioner John King is proud of his Hispanic heritage.
I was born in Mexico, in la Ciudad de Mexico, and then I grew up in Monterrey, and then about 17 and a half I came to the United States.
King's father is from South Georgia. After the family moved here, King needed to learn how to speak English, and while he learned the language, he has not forgotten his native tongue.
It's my first language, yes. It's the language that actually sometimes I'm the most comfortable in. People can detect an accent in English, and usually they can't tell where I'm from. They think I'm Scottish, they think I'm Cajun. And then when I explain to them, it's Spanish with a Southern accent.
The belongings, documents that cannot be easily replaced.
In 2019, he became the first Hispanic statewide official. King says being bilingual has helped him to truly engage with the community he serves.
A lot of people think that if they just translate an English phrase into Spanish, that's engagement. No, you got to get into the community. Sometimes just not say much, just listen.
And with just over 1 million Latinos in Georgia, King says this community brings something special to our state.
We bring the flavor to Georgia. La salsa picante. We bring that passion for service, for families, for working for a better day tomorrow.
King believes the future is bright for the Latino community in Georgia.
But Latinos have an incredible amount of opportunity. We just got to figure out where the barriers are and try to remove those barriers.
He says removing those barriers begins with more Latinos getting involved in their local governments.
And that's what my recruiting drive, to get Latinos to be engaged in government, to run for office, to be part of the solution, not just sit on the sidelines and complaining how bad the government is.
King believes when Latinos get involved in their communities, all of Georgia wins.
Well, people are gearing up for 2024 when the nation heads back to the ballot box. Last presidential election, nearly 400,000 of Georgia's eligible voters were Latino. So that's a little less than half of the state's Latino population, which means there are a lot of people who are not getting a say. That's why nonprofit Galeo is working on a new legislative report to make sure everyone's priorities are brought to the table.
We are especially encouraging people who might be scared to voice their opinions, such as like the undocumented communities who are like, I'm not a citizen, I'm not a resident, why does it matter? We want to make sure that everyone who is in Georgia, who is Latino, who contributes to the diversifying society that we have here in the state, is able to have their voice heard. It's not a...
Galeo has spent months collecting input from Latinos all over the state, and they will be delivering their report to Georgia's Legislative Assembly next session. Well, this year, one local organization is taking aim at a new law that they say targets some of its youngest members. Comunidad Estrella, or Community Star, is one of the only Latinx trans groups in Georgia. Faith Jesse sat down with their founder to discuss their fight for visibility.
Comunidad Estrella remains resilient.
In this case, we're mobilized strongly against SB 140.
Founder Leanne Sanchez says their services are needed now more than ever, with support programs ranging from temporary housing to Know Your Rights seminars.
We're responding to the law, how we're taking care of ourselves, and meeting with impacted families to discuss their experience.
Comunidad Estrella, which translates to Community Star, is one of the only Latinx-focused organizations fighting for trans rights in the state of Georgia.
It's difficult to your rights when talking about SB 140 because it's not a law that protects us.
Sanchez is working to support the families impacted by the new law. The Georgia law bans most gender-affirming care for trans minors.
Since this law started, we've always said, instead of gaining more rights, we're losing them.
While the fate of the law is playing out in the courts, opponents argue the law threatens the health of transgender youth.
This is not something that they do to rebel against their parents. This is their entire life.
But supporters of the law say trans youth should not make life-changing decisions about their bodies before they're 18.
But what we're doing here is we're preventing minors under 18 years old from having irreversible changes in their lives.
Why does the government get to decide when I know what I have to do to be happy?
That's the question Sanchez gets from families whose children are wanting to continue or begin gender-affirming care. Her response?
We will continue to organize ourselves to see what can be done to stop this ban.
Well, identity looks different in Latino cultures, meaning there is more than what meets the eye. We dive deeper into what it means to be Afro Latino just ahead. A melting pot of cultures make up Georgia's Latino community, and that includes Afro Latinos. Karis Belger explains why for them being in between has its challenges and blessings.
One thing that Adrian and I were very conscious of coming back to Atlanta is that we wanted to give homage to the historic West End.
Take one look around Luis Negron's Atlanta home, and it's clear history and heritage are a point of pride.
It's very important that our children are bilingual, so we have all the numbers and the figures and the days and the months and the colors in Spanish.
More so, he says, because he spent years defining an identity for himself.
So my dad's a black Puerto Rican, my mom's a white Puerto Rican. I grew up in Oakland, California, which was a predominantly African-American community. But yet at home, we spoke Spanish, we ate Spanish foods. I didn't get exposed to eating greens and grits till I got to Morehouse College as a transfer student.
Negron is now the executive director of the 100 Black Men of Atlanta, and he says there were moments he felt he had to choose. But he's proud that he and younger generations have language to define who they are for themselves.
Yet those of us who are of Afro Latino descent, we are bridge builders. You know, we could link the bridge between the Latino side and the African-American side.
Mariela Perez Calderon agrees. The native New Yorker says she's proud of her Dominican roots, but the actress, business owner, and content creator says there's still room to grow.
Every role that I have ever played has always been the black girl. A lot of people still don't know that I am what a Latina also looks like.
For her, it's a familiar challenge.
All my friends were also Latinos, were also Dominican, but I always felt as like the ugly one because I was the darker one. Here in Atlanta, we don't have as big of a Latino community as we do in New York City, so I feel like I'm able to take advantage and blend into the black community and also into the Latino community.
While they have different perspectives, Luis and Mariela say they hope the world continues to see every part of their identities.
Well, the Gwinnett Stripers are celebrating Hispanic culture this season. We'll explain how they play ball as the Solos de Gwinnett next.
I've always really cared about what's happening here in Atlanta. This is home. I was born and raised right here in the city. Even as a third grader, I'd watch the news and have my dad record me recapping the day's events. Now, as an 11 Alive anchor, I carry that same passion to tell stories that have impact and to be active in the community. I need to know what matters most to people and even the challenges they may face. So what a privilege to be back home in Atlanta and join you every weekday with Faith Jesse right here on 11 Alive News at 4.
Well, Latinos are known to be sports fanatics. I mean, I love some baseball, and one local team is trying to bring more Latino flair to its fan base. Joe Ripley shows us how the Gwinnett Stripers switch up their jerseys and knock it out of the park as the Solos de Gwinnett.
Finding your voice is a lot like finding your own batting stance.
I started playing when I was 3.
Ask Jesmer Perez, on hand at Coolray Field to watch the Gwinnett Stripers. It didn't take long for him to find baseball or that home run swing.
Hitting and catching, it's like it's a regional sport. I can't help it. It's my favorite sport.
The Gwinnett Stripers are the AAA affiliate for the Atlanta Braves, but for 6 games during the season, se transforman y juegan como los Zolos de Gwinnett.
Named after the national dog of Mexico, the Zolos are part of a push by minor league baseball to increase awareness of Hispanic heritage and culture. Stripers general manager Aaron McCormick says dozens of teams take on a new persona for La Copa de la Diversión. Winning the event takes winning games, the ballpark experience, and community engagement.
There is a change in your fan base at the ballpark, and that you're seeing a different group of people come out, but they know that they can have fun and be welcome.
I feel like there's a lot of a strong Latino heritage, Latino culture around, spread out throughout the states. I think it's really cool to represent that on the field.
The team is 5-0 when they don the bright blue, red, and gold.
Go Cholos!
Fans have also embraced the Zolos and another voice in the community.
Go Cholos!
This is an impact for all the Latinos. You come from your country to a new country, one that has a new culture. One tries to adapt.
No matter what language that voice speaks, it inspires fans like Jesmer Perez.
If I keep putting in the work and keep training with my dad in the garage or keep going to practice, I might be able to play with the Solos or the Stripers.
In Gwinnett County, Joe Ripley, 11 Alive News.
That's right, go Solos. Well, gracias, and thank you so much for tuning in for the special edition of Voices for Equality, honoring Hispanic heritage. Find more Voices for Equality stories right now on our website, 11alive.com/voices. I'm Paola Suro.